Hi, I'm Jack from Flints, and welcome to another Backstage Flints video. Today we're going to be making a cast of a hand using Flints alginate and some plaster. A beautiful ornament for your home, somewhere to throw your keys, or even somewhere to display your exquisite jewellery. So to begin with, I need to make a mould. So I'll be using alginate for this. It's skin safe and self-releasing, and I'm using the slow type here, but you can use the fast type for this. The fast type will give you 2 minutes for mixing and 1 minute for setting, and the slow type will give you 4 minutes for mixing and 2 minutes for setting. Tub selection is key here, as you don't want to waste any alginate, but it needs to be large enough to contain what you're casting and have a thick enough wall for the plaster to contain that. So I'll be using a 1 litre paint kettle from Flints, just enough for my fist and to give you enough room around the outside. The mixing ratio for the alginate is 1:1 for spreading and 2:1 for pouring. I'll just need to be pouring it today, as I'll just be pouring it into the tub and then sinking my fist into it. You could use a drill for this, and that'll just get all the clumps out. But just because it's such a small batch, I'll just be using a tongue depressor just to go through it. That should be enough for it. So once you've got it to a smooth consistency like this, and you've got as many clumps as possible, you can then sink your fist in. Just be careful of your hand placement as well, and just make sure that there's enough space all the way around your hand for not to take an impression. Also be mindful of where you put your fist as well, because that will determine the base of it, your finished piece. So after 4 minutes, you should be able to ease your hand out and you're left with the perfect mould. Next up, I'm going to be mixing some plaster to cast inside it. So now you can begin by mixing the plaster to go into your mould. So a good way of doing this is just get about the amount of water that you need, and then just sprinkle the plaster over your fingers so you get out any clumps. And you can tell how much plaster you need for the water by just pouring it into the centre of the water and then sprinkling it through. And as soon as you get a peak that touches the top of the water, that means you've got enough. And you can begin to mix. So you can just go around with your hands and just loosen any clumps. And you'll know as soon as it's ready to pour, is it'll start to skin over on your hand like that. So as soon as it's sticking like that, like double cream, you can begin pouring. So just start off slowly and just making sure it goes into all the nooks and crannies, and kind of slurrying it around as you go. And once you reach the top, you need to knock it a little bit, and that will release any of the air bubbles that have been trapped, and make sure the plaster gets into all the detail. Now we're ready to demold. The exciting bit. The alginate is a waste mould, so you can just pull it apart. Just be careful not to damage the cast inside. there you have it. Your hand. Once you've demolded, you then need to clean up the mold, the final cast. So by doing that, you do it under a tap, just with a toothbrush, just to get the alginate out of all the cracks. And if there's any areas like this, I don't know if you can see there, but there's some slight problems with probably my hand moving within the mold. But that can just be trimmed away or sanded quite easily. To get you making these at home, we've set up some kits. So if you just want to make the basic hand, we do a kit that's got the alginate in it, a handy 1 kilo bag of plaster, 1 litre paint kettle like this, and a measuring beaker. And if you want to do a golden hand, really go to town on it, then that has the plaster, the alginate, paint kettle, and the beaker, plus a paintbrush, some PVA, and that just seals the plaster before applying the size. A pot of gilding flakes for you to get started. And if you really want to have a look at the whole range of our gilding flakes, we do a kit that has all of the gilding flakes in. So that's the gold, the silver, the copper, the Aztec gold, the green verde, and the red verde, some PVA, and a whole litre of polyvinyl size. Remember to follow us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter to see more content like this. Thanks for watching, stay safe, and lots of love from Flints.